Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Lieutenant Governor of the State of New York, Robert J. Duffy.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to ask the MTA Honor Guard to please post the colors. Would you all rise?
Yes, you can actually kill the power of one.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. First of all, on behalf of Governor Andrew Cuomo, I want to thank you all for coming. It is an honor to be here and a privilege to be at this ceremony as we rename officially the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel in honor of former Governor Hugh Carey. And it is a very fitting tribute. Some acknowledgments I'd like to make, first of all, to the Carey family. I want to welcome them, and Michael will be representing them in a few minutes. I want to welcome the entire family for being here. Some special guests. I want to welcome former Governor Mario Cuomo. Former Governor David Paterson. Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Former Lieutenant Governor Richard Ravitch. Congressman Jerry Nadler. Senator Marty Golden. Senator Daniel Squadron. Brooklyn Borough President Marty Markowitz. Manhattan Borough President Scott Stringer. Staten Island Borough President James Molinaro. And I want to especially thank the MTA for making this possible. Their MTA Chairman and CEO Joseph Lota is here. Thank you, Joe. Mitchell Paley, an MTA board member, is here. Thank him. And also James Ferrara, who is the president of the MTA Bridges and Tunnels. I want to thank him very much. Although I've never had the fortune of working with Governor Carey, I've met Governor Carey on several occasions. He epitomizes what it is to be a great New Yorker, a great governor, a great public servant, known as a man who saved New York, who faced incredible challenges during his career. A father of 14 children, 3 who predeceased him, a great family man, a great public servant, and somebody who truly loved this city. He was born in Brooklyn, and I think the symbolism of this bridge, which connects southern Brooklyn and lower Manhattan, is fitting. Governor Carey was a son of Brooklyn, and it really represents so much of what he stood for during his career. Some tidbits on this. This tunnel was opened in 1950. It took 13 million hours of labor to complete this tunnel. 70,000 people go through this tunnel every day. 60 years later, after it was built, it is still the longest continuous underwater vehicular tunnel in North America. And in September 11th, one of the darkest tragedies in this city and state's and country's history, this tunnel was used for rescue efforts and emergency vehicles. And one special story I want to mention on that, Stephen Siller, a City of New York firefighter, responding to the Twin Towers on that day, ran through the tunnel with his full turnout gear to get to that site, ran throughout the tunnel, full gear, going there, and he perished that day on 9/11. His memory is kept alive in the Tunnel of Towers Foundation and also the Tunnel of Towers Run, which still goes on to this day. This past year, 25,000 people duplicated that same run that Stephen Siller did on that day. And members of firefighter Siller's family are here. I would like to just recognize them. If they would stand, please, and thank them. As we dedicate this bridge for Governor Carey, these are the things that really matter. This bridge is more than just a tunnel. It really supports commerce, traffic every day. It's about life. It's about connectivity. It's about heroism. It is about our city and our state. And it really symbolizes so much. And that's why there's no more fitting tribute than to honor former Governor Carey in this manner. So I'd like to welcome up our first speaker of the day, representing the Carey family, is Mr. Michael Carey.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to be here. Lieutenant Governor Duffy, I just want you to know that my father was a constituent of yours as a member of the Harris Beach firm long before you went to Albany. And he was a big fan when you were the mayor, and he was a big fan when you were lieutenant governor. And I just want to wish you and the governor congratulations on the great job that you're doing in making Albany a place where things are getting done for change. I want to say hello to a few friends of my father, if you will. Mayor Bloomberg, I'd like to just say thanks for all your acts of kindness over the years with my father. You were a great friend. You were always there to pick up the phone and call him and see how he was doing. Governor Cuomo, you went to St. John's Law School with my father. You were Secretary of State. You were his lieutenant governor. You went on to serve 12 great years as governor, so thank you for always being there for him and for my family. We honored Matilda on Friday at the Paul Carey breakfast. It was a very special event in which Governor Cuomo and his wife were there, and it was really a terrific event for all involved. I'd like to say thank you to Governor Patterson. His father is not here, but Basil Patterson also served as Secretary of State in the Carey administration. And David, thank you for introducing the legislation that changed the name of this tunnel to the UL Carey Family Tunnel, the UL Carey Tunnel. I want to, if I could, just ask all the members of the Carey family to stand up, if they could. I did that because someone asked why it took a little while to get this event scheduled. And the only one that could bring this group together on a timely basis was Hugh, Carey. And in his absence, it took us a little time to get it scheduled, but it's better late than never. It's a wonderful event, and you can all sit down now. Thank you very much. Okay. A couple other people that I want to mention, Lieutenant Governor Ravitch, who was always a great friend of my father's, served previously as head of the MTA and was a great, great friend. Chairman Loda, thank you for making today possible. It wouldn't have happened without your speaking to me on the phone, and we appreciate it very much. Senator Golden, thank you for your help in the legislation. Senator Squadron, thank you also. Thanks to Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver for bringing this legislation forward. Thank you as well to Senators Malcolm Smith and Dean Skelos. And also, thank you for all your help and kindness to the borough presidents, Jim Molinaro, my good friend, Marty Markowitz, and Scott Stringer. Congressman Adler, welcome as well. I want to say a special word to the Siller family because, you know, we share, I guess, a bond through this tunnel. And, you know, Stephen Siller gave his life on 9/11, and my father attended many of the memorial and funeral services for people like Stephen Siller, who gave so thanklessly that day. So God bless you, and I will be in the race next year. And as many Careys as I can get down there, I'd like you all to join me for the race in the tunnels and towers. Thank you very much. This is a huge tribute to a great man who we affectionately refer to as the Huge. Born in Brooklyn, Hugh Leo Carey was the third of 6 sons born to Dennis and Margaret Collins Carey. Fittingly, Hugh Carey's family has roots in the Battery. He is the grandson of Irish immigrants who entered New York through Castle Clinton nearby, and County Tyrone and County Galway, where his people came from. Our grandmother, Margaret Collins Carey, worked for the famed Nellie Bly right over here at 17 Battery Place. So it's only fitting that we be here today. Hugh Carey was a devout Catholic who, as a young boy, served as an altar boy and attended St. Augustine's High School, St. John's University, and St. John's Law School. Throughout his life, he was an active member of the church, a number of churches, and very supportive of numerous religious organizations. Faith was a very important part of his life. In 1939, just about the time this tunnel was being started by Franklin Roosevelt, a hero of our fathers, Hugh Carey enlisted in the 101st Cavalry. He would serve in the infantry in northern France and in Holland, and would effect the liberation of the Nordhausen concentration camp. He was a recipient of the Combat Infantry Award, the Bronze Star, the Croix de Guerre with Silver Star. He left active duty with the rank of colonel. After the war, our father would reunite with a high school acquaintance, and on February 27, 1947, like this great tunnel, he would go from Brooklyn to Manhattan to wed the late Helen Owen Carey at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Together they would have 14 children, and then some, and then some, and then some. And though she predeceased him in 1974, Helen Owen Carey was the guiding force in Hugh Carey's life. We know she was with him always, and even more so after August of 2010 when he joined her. This tunnel dedication honors her memory as well. Hugh Carey was elected to the United States House of Representatives in 1960. He would serve for 14 years, during which time he helped write and pass numerous pieces of legislation on education, civil rights, the disabled, and revenue sharing. He worked side by side with Lyndon Johnson. Together with Robert F. Kennedy, he was an early opponent of the Vietnam War. On November 5, 1974, Hugh Carey was elected the 51st governor of the state of New York. As governor, he was the architect of the financial plan that averted the bankruptcy of New York City and began a sweeping reform of fiscal matters and economic development to restore the state's vitality. One of his earliest acts was signing the historic Willowbrook Consent Decree, committing New York State to sweeping reforms in the care of the developmentally disabled. He instituted the highly successful I Love New York campaign. And by the way, there's a nice touch with the I Love New York cookies up top. If you didn't get any, you should definitely help yourself. He instituted the highly successful I Love New York campaign and founded the Empire State Games. His strong conviction made him a staunch opponent of capital punishment. And like Governor Cuomo, who would follow him, he vetoed numerous times death penalty legislation, despite the fact that it was a threat to his reelection. For both men, it was a principled act of profound courage. Just before he left office in 1982, the New York Times, in an editorial entitled "Governor for Hard Winters," wrote as follows: "He brought greatness to the office. He deserves much of the credit for saving New York City from bankruptcy." And in a statement that would resonate in today's presidential debate, Mayor Bloomberg, though committed to democratic traditions of social justice, he made his party recognize that the state could not distribute wealth without also promoting its creation. The editorial went on, Governor Carey established the Municipal Assistance Corporation and the Emergency Financial Control Board, steps necessary for the city to again access capital. He saved the Urban Development Corporation with help of people like Dick Ravitch. He restructured the Battery Park City Authority so it would proceed with idle plans. He contained hospital costs. He put the Metropolitan Transportation Authority into the strongest hands it has ever had, again, Dick Ravitch. When the political storms were coldest, he lost neither energy nor courage. He never wavered when he thought he saw a moral imperative, as in his opposition to capital punishment and support for government funding for poor women's abortions. It is hard to imagine how anyone else could have done so well in leading the state through the hardest winter. Hugh Carey was a man of faith, family, and country. He had a fierce intellect and a terrific sense of humor. He served with great passion and distinction. As proud as we are of all that he accomplished, we are equally humbled by this tribute. On behalf of the Carey family and extended friends of you, Leo Carey, we say thank you to the people of the state of New York for making this possible. We know, and God bless you.
Thank you, Michael, for that beautiful tribute to your dad. We have three speakers following Michael. The first one was the 55th governor of our state. He signed legislation in 2010 to rename this tunnel in honor of Governor Carey, and a man who never got credit for all the great things that he did. Please welcome to the podium Governor David Paterson.
And I'd like to thank the most famous escort I've ever had, Mayor Bloomberg, for walking me up here. Today I represent the Paterson family. The governor was close with both my mother and father. My father was in the law school class along with Governor Carey and Governor Cuomo. They've always considered me an underachiever because I didn't go to St. John's Law School. But nonetheless, all of them did a lot of great things for New York, and we're here to honor Hugh L. Carey and all that he actually did. I think he's an inspiration to all of us because in this time of political expediency, he did what was right and did not worry about the consequences for himself. He made the difficult decisions and left his own fate to the universe. He was dynamic, articulate, perceptive, courageous, and outspoken, especially outspoken. And I saw him as kind of a hero. I grew up knowing him. He was a congressman for 14 years. At one point, he was going to run for mayor of the city of New York. And he leaves behind a wonderful, wonderful family. We're all here today. I was thinking of asking all of you who are not in the Carey family to stand up so we could count you very quickly. Because today I think we're all in the Carey family and we really owe a lot to him. And the work that he and many others, particularly the former Lieutenant Governor, Richard Ravitch, who's here today, all the work that they actually did. What a wise choice that he made when he chose Mario Cuomo to be his Lieutenant Governor, who would also go on to be one of the great governors of this state. And we have had quite a rich tradition. And so with all of the celebration of him, I thought that I would close just by telling you a little story about the governor. In 2009, I told him that I wanted this day to come, and although he's not here to share it with us, I'm so glad that he knew that the day was going to come when we officially changed the name of the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel to the Hugh L. Carey Tunnel. But I didn't actually see him until I gave my State of the State address the next year. After the address, we had a reception in the Executive Mansion, where at the time we had a picture of Teddy Roosevelt, who was a president, just happened to be a Republican, but he's a president, and he was in the drawing room. And out in the entrance, we had a picture of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was a governor and happened to be a Democrat. So when Governor Carey comes up to me, I thought he was going to thank me for naming this bridge after him. Instead, he took his cane and hit me on the elbow with it. And he said, and I quote, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And I said, well, there are a lot of things, but which in particular would you like to refer to? He said, I just can't believe you could live here and have Teddy Roosevelt's picture in the drawing room and you've got my guy out in the hall. So I actually moved the paintings in honor of Governor Carey, and I think he was happier about this than he was about this bridge being named after him, because he always put others, and he always put issues, and he always put principles and values ahead of himself. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is the 108th mayor of the city of New York. He has been a great mayor of a great city. Please welcome Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Michael, I was listening to your talk, and I actually learned something. Turns out that Hugh Carey was Catholic. Who knew that? You look at the size of the family. Orthodox from Borough Park has to be. Anyways, it really is an honor to be part of this ceremony and to be joined by all the Carey family, as well as former governors Cuomo and Patterson and MTA Chairman Joe Lhota. Joe, I'm happy to report that the subway worked once again just perfectly. Thank you very much. I always give him a day-to-day report. If it screws up, it's clearly his fault. Every day, thousands of commuters, however, don't take the subway. They drive through this tunnel and into Hugh Carey's old congressional district. And they're thinking of work, perhaps, or home, or school, or their to-do list for that day. And from this day forward, if only for a moment, they'll also think of Hugh L. Carey, who really was a giant in his time and whose legacy looms larger, I think, with every passing year. As governor, Hugh Carey was the man who saved New York. I think that's a direct assessment of as direct an assessment of his tenure as anyone can make. It is also grander than the humble family man from Brooklyn would ever have allowed about himself. But it really is true that Governor Carey saved the city by bringing together business and labor leaders, Democratic and Republican leaders, something we need certainly more of in government today. And he saved the city by investing in the future. He was the first governor to develop a capital plan for the MTA at a time when our subway system was literally falling apart. The New York that stands today really is a testament to Governor Carey's foresight and fortitude. Back then, few people would have believed that the city would be as strong and as safe as it is today. The story of how it happened starts, however, with Governor Carey, and all of us who have followed him in public office stand on his shoulders, and I'm particularly grateful to Governor Carey for his support throughout my time in office, as well as, most importantly, my 2001 election campaign when he crossed party lines to endorse me. Of course, Governor Carey did more than save our city. Through his passionate commitment to public health issues, he saved thousands of lives and improved countless more. He was a big-hearted leader who was never afraid of making the tough decisions and telling us the hard truths. His impact will be felt in our city for generations to come, and today we are making sure that his name and legacy will be remembered for just as long, not just by civic leaders and historians, but by millions of New Yorkers who will visit our city by driving through this tunnel or hear his name on a traffic report. Hopefully people won't be stuck in traffic and curse his name, but if they do, I might point out that he and Lincoln, another great man with a tunnel, can look down and share a laugh. Lincoln and Carey, Republican and Democrat, the president who saved the Union and the governor who saved the state. I would argue it's a perfect fit. Let me also point out one other thing. I think elected officials in this state, in this city, in this country would do well to reflect back on Governor Carey. He had the courage to stand up for what he believed. It wasn't always popular. People didn't always want to hear it. But I've always been a believer that the public is a lot smarter than the pundits would have it. They want to tell the truth first and foremost, and they respect people that do it. In fact, one of the main highways running into this tunnel is named for another person who did very much the same thing, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of Governor Carey's political heroes, and that makes it all the more perfect that this tunnel is named the Hugh Carey Tunnel. We can never repay Hugh Carey for his service to New York, but we can honor and remember him. That's what this dedication will do, and hopefully will also inspire others to be just like Hugh Carey. Thank you.
Our final speaker today was the 52nd governor of the state of New York, served 3 terms, had an incredible legacy as governor as well as a public servant serving this city and our state. That legacy lives on as he is the proud father of our current governor. So please welcome to the podium Governor Mario Cuomo.
Excuse me. I was Hugh Carey's very close assistant as governor. I was a lieutenant governor. And as Governor Carey saw my duties, it was most of all to end things that were going on too long. One in particular will serve to tell the story. We had a lot of problems in the early days of the Carey administration. One of them was the Mohawk uprising, where Indians in the northern part of the state seized a piece of property saying it was theirs, and that the deal that had been made many years before with the federal government was a phony deal. They shot and wounded a couple of troopers. It was a really serious problem. It hadn't come to light during the campaign, but as soon as Governor Carey won the campaign, the stories started. And he sent 3 different people up to talk to the Indians. And this is exactly how it happened. The first almost got scalped because he appeared with a great retinue. He landed in his helicopter, and these Indians were there. They were the old Indians, the Indians who refused to become citizens of the United States of America. And so they were living by their Indian ways. They had the houses constructed in their Indian ways, etc. And when they saw this army settling in, they thought it was time for battle. And so that didn't work. After that, he sent up Mr. Burley. Now, that's a famous name to people who understand politics. And the Burley family was a wonderful family. But Mr. Burley went up and got very much the same result. And then, that having failed, he didn't know what to do, and so he called in the lieutenant governor. And he says, you know what's happened with the Indians on the 2 attempts we've made. I want you to go up and deal with the Indians. I said, Governor, I don't know anything about Indians. I can read a book about Indians and learn about them in a hurry, but I don't have anything to arm myself with. And he said, look, I know that you settled all kinds of things in New York City, one that involved the Jewish community against the black community, etc. And if you did that, you could do this. I said, Judge, Governor, that's really not logical. He says, I'm the governor. I don't have to be logical. And so I went up, and I went up with my 1 bag, 1 pilot, 1 helicopter. We landed, and a fellow, one of the Indians came forward, and he said, I am Gagrilageyu, which translated is Montour, and he says, and I'm an iron worker in Brooklyn, but I live up here too in my natural life. He says, do you have anybody with you? I said, no, not at all. He says, okay, here's how it works here. You're going to negotiate, but the women select the negotiators. And so before, and what they do, it was very clever, what they did with the other 2 is the woman would send negotiator 1 out. Negotiator 1 would work and get something done that was good for his side and give a little bit to the other side. And then the next day, there would be a new negotiator in the place. So they had the 1 score they made and didn't have to give anything. Before even that, they asked, can we start with our prayer? And I said, like Hugh Carey, I was a good Catholic kid from St. John's University. I said, well, we can pray, and they can pray. And so they started with their prayer. And they went on, and I listened for what seemed like endless time. And finally it was over, and one of the women stepped forward and said, "You may now start with your negotiations." And I did, and we did. And we talked a little bit. When it was all over, I said, "What is it that you want?" We talked for about 25, 35 minutes, and I put together a contrivance and came back down and told the governor, "I think we've got a solution." He said, "Good. Come back when you can say not that you think we've got a solution, but that we have a solution." And I came back and we had a solution. And to the best of the last time I heard, nobody had been shot up in that piece of property since then. And so I was asked to do all the difficult things. And in a way, I think he somehow worked it out, because he's very effective at almost everything he tried to do. He somehow worked it out so that I would be the last to speak, and it would be a very cold day, and it would mean that, you're the last one, and they're all waiting for you to finish so that they can get the heck into a warmer place. And I looked down at little infants who are freezing, et cetera, and I said, "Carey, he was the best," and he was. I want to make only one point about him. He is being called by everybody today, and I want to be sure that it's not a word that's being used loosely. He's being, not every governor will be noted and honored the way Hugh Carey is being noted and honored. We have had many, many governors in the history of this state. They're not all honored, because to be honored, it seems to me, you have to be, at least the way I see it from my experience, you have to be a governor who got things done, a governor who produced good things. And that's what Hugh Carey's greatest contribution was. He got things done. And one of the keys, and it becomes more evident if you look at Washington today, one of the keys was the 7 years he spent in Washington, where he learned, the 7 terms he spent there, where he learned how to do a deal, where he learned how to collaborate, how to cross the aisle, and use his magnificent charm as well as his intelligence to make a deal. Collaboration was his strength, and it's a lost art in Washington at this moment. They can't agree on anything. Carey, if we had Governor Carey now, he could have made a deal, and he made many of them. Yes, the mayor and others will point out that he saved the city. But in saving the city, and I remember that well, I got a phone call not long after the election was held. And it was on the automobile phone. And he said, "Did you know that New York City was bankrupt virtually?" And I said, "No." He said, "Did you know that the banks were going to stop making loans to us?" I said, "No." He says, "What do you think happened?" I said, "You won the election. The other guys are ticked. They own the banks, and that's it." Well, I won't repeat the words that came out of his mouth after that, but what he said in effect was, "Okay, we have to do something about this." And all that he had learned about collaboration, all that he had learned about crossing to the other side of the aisle, all of that he had, that most of us who have been in the business don't have to the extent that he had it. All of that he used in various ways. He was intelligent, he was smart, he could con you, he could beat you in a hard argument, he could do it all, and he did it. And he did indeed save New York City, because by saving them, the economy of New York City, you saved the city. But he also saved New York State, because if New York City had gone down, I know, Hugh, I know, I promise. Not much longer. No, yeah, I remember the Indians. Yeah, I remember the Indians. Hey. and he did that, but he did a whole lot more. If you want to know everything he did, there's a book. You can read the book on it. And go to page 699 in a book by Simons that talks about the state of New York and who was good and who was bad. He did that. Now, and a lot of the things he did, we've forgotten. Right after we took over, there was one scandal after another. The scandal for people who at Willowbrook. Now, if you had ever seen the results of Willowbrook before Governor Carey did what he did, it was a sin. It was a mortal sin. People were dying there in misery. They were treated like animals. Some of them were being sped to an early death one way or another just to make room so that somebody else could go through that terrible situation. Well, he changed that. He closed down Willowbrook. He did a lot of things. Remember Love Canal. Those words don't mean a whole lot down here. They mean an awful lot upstate. And so there were all these things that he got done. Why? Because he was good at it, and he loved it, and he put his mind to it, and so he deserves the honor that's being paid to him today. But the big word on Hugh Carey is he got it done. He really got it done. I remember that after his second term, when he had reached the point that for one reason or another he decided it's time to face other challenges. And he came and told a group of New Yorkers that he was going not to run. Well, they were very, very sad at that. And well, they should be, because when he decided to leave, we lost a truly great governor. And to me, the way I measure governors on the basis of what they get done, he was the best ever. I'm through, Huey. God bless you. Save a place.
It is now time to unveil the sign. On behalf of Governor Andrew Cuomo, I just want to extend our congratulations to the Carey family on this well-deserved tribute. I want to thank all our speakers and thank everyone for coming today, and welcome officially today to the UL Carey Tunnel. That's the end of our program. Thank you, and God bless you.